Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Waj'al li wazira min ahli Haruna akhi. أشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome friends, inshallah we will continue with the 15th ray, which is a continuation of the tashahhud that we recite in our prayers daily. We discussed a little bit about the ascension in our prayers as well when we are connecting with our Lord. And the author is going to continue with some evidences, he says, through 15 evidences in terms of solidifying our understanding and what the all-encompassing knowledge comprises, basically making our connection even stronger so that our ascension, as we connect and relate to our creator, our source of existence, can be more meaningful and powerful, inshallah. So with Brother Lee, are you going to say something? So with that, the first of 15 evidences, the balanced order. The measured regularity and balanced order observed in all creatures testify to an all-encompassing knowledge. Observed in all creatures is the balance and regularity. Now I recall last time we also discussed about the conscious beings, angels. Man and the angels make known the all-glorious, all-worshipped one. So in my understanding, I have to have the awareness of all the other beings and how they glorify and their Lord as well. So the measured regularity and balanced order observed in all creatures testify to an all-encompassing knowledge. Yes, their being in all things from the universe, which resembles an orderly palace, and the solar system and the page of the air, whose particles display an astonishing order in the broadcasting of words and sounds, and the face of the earth, which every spring with perfect order and regularity raises 300,000 different species to the members, cells, particles, and bodily systems of all living beings. A balanced order and perfect regularity, which are the works of a profound, comprehensive, unfailing knowledge, which means that they testify in extremely clear and decisive manner to an all-encompassing knowledge. So the author is focusing on whatever in the universe we observe. Hopefully we see the regularity and balanced order in the things, how they're coming into existence, the way the order is operating. Look at ourselves, our body, how it's functioning in a way. We eat food and then things are distributed in a particular regularity and balance. We get to realize usually when something imbalanced happens, maybe our mistakes, and then we get sick and we realize, okay, hopefully that, oh, I never thanked the Lord while I was perfectly, everything was working well in my body. So the regularity and balance is an amazing quality that is seen and observed. And that's not just in my body, not in me, but in all creatures. The birds, the plants, everything is functioning. The sun, the rotation of the Earth, the Milky Way galaxy, how the planets are organized. So the whole universe resembles an orderly palace. Every perfect order in the way that things come into being, existence in the different seasons. So what is this is supposed to tell us something, that whoever is presenting all this, whose work it is, must possess or know about whatever is being created, how the balance is, how the regularity. So to an unfailing is an interesting word, unfailing knowledge. They testify in clear and decisive manner in all-encompassing knowledge. All right, so if anybody wants to comment on this, the balanced order, you are free to do so before I move on to the second evidence. And regular balance. So the balanced order, and now the second evidence says, and regular balance. In all the creatures in the universe, particular, universal, from the planets to the red and white corpuscles in blood, in everything, there is an exceedingly orderly measure and appropriate balance which point self-evidently to an all-encompassing knowledge and testify to it decisively. So the universe, whatever is going on, testifies to that knowledge very clearly, evidently, decisively for the conscious human being. Yes, we see, for instance, that the members and bodily systems of a fly or human being, and even the cells of the body and red and white corpuscles in the blood, are placed with so sensitive a balance and fine a measure, and they are so fitting and suitable for each other, and their mutual proportion with the other members of the body is so orderly, and they are in such harmony with them, that it is in no way possible that one lacking infinite knowledge could have given them those situations. So those situations that we are observing, the acts in the universe, definitely point to an infinite knowledge. Similarly, a balance so perfect and measure so regular and unfailing govern in all living creatures and source of creatures, from minute particles to the planets of the solar system, that they prove conclusively an all-encompassing knowledge and testify to it with complete clarity. This means that all the evidences for knowledge are evidences also for the existence of the all-knowing One. All the evidences of knowledge are the evidences also for the existence of the all-knowing One. So by our observation, we see signs and evidences that there is, which shows knowledge. And that should point out to the all-knowing One. Since it is impossible and precluded that there should be an attribute, without the One, it qualifies. So a quality or an attribute cannot be just hanging by itself or random or natural without any conscious being or someone it belongs to or it qualifies. All the proofs of knowledge form a powerful and completely certain supreme proof of the pre-eternal, all-knowing One's necessary existence. Okay, so that was the second evidence, which is a continuation of the first one, which was the balanced order, and then even that balanced order is in a regular fashion. All right, Brother Ali, go ahead.
No, what we are reading is interesting. And argument also is interesting, trying to convince the human logic, human reasoning, that the measured regularity and balanced order, regular balance, needs really a conscious knowing factor. The one who really realizes this creation, pre-eternal and all-knowing one, yeah, needs. This is the problem of the age. It is not an easy subject to deal with. It needs really sensitive analysis. As far as I can see, I don't know whether I am able to do that. I'm the person who will do it, but I'll try my best. Earlier on, I remember once it was a very attractive idea for me, which I still keep it. And because of this excitement of understanding that there is an important point here, I kept repeating, but lately I didn't repeat it. But from time to time, I use in our discussions, the last sentence or last thing to say about this matter. But the matter is this. Yes, universe, we see the order. Everything is orderly working. No one denies this. Believers, non-believers, deniers of God and purposeful creation, they all agree that there is regularity and order in the universe. In other perspective, this order is continuously changing within an order as well, in other orders. So whatever happens, nothing happens out of order. It means orderliness is the essence of the universe's existence. Orderliness is the important. The problem is when the risale usually uses the expression veil, veil, veil. The real veil is the orderliness. Orderliness itself is a veil, because you can say, and just look at the veil and say that the things are happening within an order. That is how it happened. The universe happened to be, to find its order, and order is out there. So everything is developing within this order of the universe by itself. Of course, by itself is important. The other one says no, orderliness cannot happen by itself, and orderliness cannot be the result of accident. Accident cannot give a birth into an order or result into an order. And matter is subject to the order, so order must exist before matter exists. It means prior to the existence of order, orderliness is necessary. It doesn't mean that time-wise orderliness should exist. It doesn't mean that. But we cannot explain the existence of orderliness as a result of the activities, accidental, random activities of matter. But we can explain that activities of matter is taking place within our order. It makes sense. Some people, no, it happened to be accidentally. It doesn't make sense, really. No one can put forward or present us an evidence for it. Impossible, because we are looking at the universe which already exists within an order. So people say, okay, order necessitates this development within itself. That is why things are, especially living beings, are evolving within an order and becoming better and better. This is the necessary result of the order. That's what how the people argue against belief in God, the creator, a conscious, all-knowing one. This is really a serious problem. Many people are affected from it. Many people, especially those people who go to school and get science education, they are exposed to this idea and they cannot challenge against it. So we have to understand that rather than arguing about the things are evolving themselves or not, we have to specify our idea, which the source of existence of order, to which matter is subject. That is a very important point to me. Matter is subject to order. There is nothing in the universe which can go out and reject the order. They cannot. Matter is subject to order. So the problem is not really the order or the matter is happening in this way or in that way. Look, the things are moving by themselves, and cell structures necessitates this, and they are adapting themselves. Rather than arguing this, we have to question two main points. One is the source of existence of order. Two, the source of existence of matter. This is important. These are the important points. Source of existence, where or how we can explain the existence of order how we can explain the existence of matter. So that if we could find a way of explaining the source of existence of these two main elements in the universe, then we can analyze whether the order is a veil where people cannot see behind it, or it is a veil on which the reality reflects itself, manifests itself. 2 points. Is the veil covering it up, or is the veil where human beings can see what is going on and see the qualities of the actor behind, actor manifesting on it? This is tajalli. And also hijab, in the original language of the risale-i, the author that we are reading his book, is a word taken from hadith narrations. God is beyond the hijab of 70,000, 7,700, this kind of numbers, but these are symbolic. All the numbers used in the Quran and in the hadith narrations are symbolic. No one can precisely say that it is 700, not 701. But a lot. It means in Arabic literature, for example, in Turkish idiom, we said, I told you 70 times, man, still you didn't understand. I didn't count it. It means I told you a lot on many occasions. Everybody knows that. This is the nature of the language. Not that, we don't believe in what Quran says, Samawat is 7, not 8, not 6. Nothing to do with it. Every number, 7, a little bit really, a few layers of creation you see. 70, well, it's really a considerable amount. 700 or a lot. Thousands, 50,000, as the Quran says. Then is تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقدارها 50,000 سنة. كان مقداره, I think, 50,000 سنة. شاشردم ya. Confused. The Ma'arish, it's in the Ma'arish. Let me, because I don't want to Ma'arish. Where is it? Where is Ma'arish? 80, chapter 8. Yeah, here it is. Ma'arish, okay. وتعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. Cannot be فيها, you know. So في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. Yeah, because grammatically it was incorrect, but I didn't remember the correct form. So في يوم, I have to memorize it correctly. So 50,000 days, which days the angels and ruh, whatever it is, they say Gabriel, whatever it is not our point here, reaches God in 50,000 days. Of course, when you go out of the solar system, there is no day. It is obvious. We have to be comfortable about this kind of things. We shouldn't really be literalist to defend the Quran. No. Or that is beyond imagination. It means beyond imagination. In fact, even 50,000 days, if 50,000 years, no one, excuse me, yeah. no one really reaches God, because God is beyond universe anyways. God is not of the kind of universe anyway. So what are we talking about? Reaching God. It means in order to realize the reality, that's what we understand, what really God is, man, you have to travel a lot. It means travel in reflections, studying the revelation and studying the creation. A lot, but your lifespan is not enough for it, but you have to be on the way. That is what we understand. That's what I understand from it. The numbers are not important. That is, for my understanding, that is sure. What I should understand, the order and the universe created within the order needs explanation if we understand that matter and orderliness in the universe cannot be explained within the universe. There is no source of existence. So we can understand that the existence, the creator of these two fundamental matters in the universe can only be explained by the one who has given existence to the whole universe, because the universe requires an absolute being to be its source of existence. That is how I understand this very critical matter, because many, many people's minds are really confused about this subject. That's what I could think about it. If anybody really contributes further, I will love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ali. So anybody else who would like to share anything? All right. So we can move on then, inshallah. Bismillah. The third evidence, and the general purposeful wisdom. In all the creativity and activity in the universe, and in all the changes, raising to life, employing in duties, and discharging from them, all creatures and all species of creatures have functions, uses, and purposes, which are so intentional and knowing that they leave no room for chance. We see that with respect to creation, one who does not possess all. All-encompassing knowledge could in no way lay claim to any of them. For example, although it is only a piece of flesh, together with its two main functions, the tongue, which is one of man's 100 members, man being only one of innumerable animate creatures, is the means to hundreds of instances of wisdom, results, fruits, and uses. Its functions of tasting foods, recognizing all their different flavors or savors, informing the body and the stomach, being an exacting inspector of the kitchens of divine mercy, and an accurate interpreter and telephone exchange for the heart, spirit, and mind in the function of speech, all point in most brilliant and decisive manner to all-encompassing knowledge. If through its purposes and fruits a single tongue furnishes such evidence, a single tongue furnishes such evidence, innumerable tongues and innumerable living beings, infinite creatures, point to and testify to an infinite knowledge with the clarity and certainty of the noonday sun. They proclaim that there is nothing at all outside the bounds of the knowledge of the one all-knowing of the unseen, or outside his wisdom and will. So the general purposeful wisdom, creativity and activity in the universe, the changes, raising to life, duties, all creatures, functions, uses, and purposes. So each and every creature, if we think about it, everything is deliberately placed there, intentionally and knowingly. The things themselves don't know about each other. There's no way. All-encompassing knowledge could no way lay claim to any of them. So the tongue does not know what my body is or what is placed there, and it's performing so many functions, instances of wisdom. And that's just one human tongue, and he says every being has their own tongue in terms of how they are, what they proclaim, how they communicate with each other. Right? Any comment on this particular evidence? It's interesting how this author is obsessed with the universe, looking at it, each and everything very carefully, examining it. And Brother Ali, go ahead.
Yes, what is presented here makes sense, but even more, maybe he didn't really explicitly explain that part, of course, implicitly did. He is the author, no, the creator of the universe, or the universe is created in such a way that it responds to my needs, stomach needs, tongue to have needs to have these qualities. They are all given. Tongue is furnished with the qualities to taste all the different thousands of different things, and it makes the distinction together with the brain functioning. That's how we are created. But even more and more essential, more evident and more essential than this is human feelings, expectations of human feelings, and the response the universe provides to them. It means responds back to human needs. I need security. The way the universe is created tells me that everything in the universe tells me that, look, I am secure in my existence. So you can understand the source of security in my existence and apply it to yourself. I need meaning. the beings that I am a meaningful being. I need hope. The universe gives me the hope. Look, although the living beings and the things are dying, it doesn't mean that the source of existence of the universe is lacking something. The new ones are created. Blacks are the symmetry of the galaxies. Black hole, symmetry of the galaxies, of course. Human beings have symmetry. Forests have symmetry for the old died plants or trees. Yes, but at the same time, new things are created because forests never disappear after the things die. Of course, burning, fire is different. It is another way of creation. Excuse me. So it is another way of creation, not something different. So from one side, the old trees are given death. From another side, new trees are created. It means the things are sorry, this telephone distracted my attention. So okay, I lost my train of thought. Now the things are witnessing that the creator is always alive and responding to the needs of human feelings. I want a permanent and absolute being who never fails. Oh man. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, let's wait. What's going on? Brother Ali? Brother Ali, where are you? Okay, I guess, I don't know. I just texted him, Brother Ali, if he comes back.
Sorry. I just the text is correct.
Yeah, so you were saying things are dying and then new ones are coming and they need a source of existence.
So it shows that, it demonstrates that the source of existence is permanent. It is always, it gives the news to that, don't worry, man, I'm going to give you death, but I am present. I didn't disappear. And your existence, your life, your death, all belong to me. So it is a very satisfactory source of hope. So I know my existence is the hand of a permanent eternal being. How secure I feel in my existence then. This correspondence is taking place between me and what the universe witnesses. This communication between me and what the universe tells me gives me security, gives me hope, gives me meaning. These are all, if you like, spiritual satisfactions. Not only that the Creator is responding to my material bodily needs. Compared to spiritual needs, material needs are almost nothing. I mean, not really nothing, but almost nothing. My body is today alive, tomorrow it will die, I know that. But my need for eternal source of security, hope, must be permanent. I don't need my body to be permanent. My Creator must be the permanent. And matter cannot guarantee that at all. It is blind, it is deaf, it is meaningless, it is just subject to the order, no free choice. On their own, they cannot do anything. They are created and they have to be in the way they are created, nothing else. They have no choice. So matter cannot satisfy my human needs. That's why materialist view cannot satisfy human needs. That is the very important aspect of creation. Of course, Quran gives the needs, hope, yes, correct, but universe also gives the hope. That is the witnessing of the universe. We have to appreciate it, inshallah.
Inshallah, it's a good reminder how we need to really be concerned about our human needs rather than our bodily needs. All right, the fourth evidence. And all embracing particular favors. Particular favors. The favors and instances of compassion and protection bestowed on all living creatures in the world of conscious beings, on every species and individual, particularly and appropriately, point self-evidently to an all-encompassing knowledge and offer innumerable testimonies to the necessary existence of one gracious and all-knowing, who knows those who receive the favors and their needs. So, receive the favors and their needs. Note, the explanation of the words of the Arabic piece, which is the summary and essence of the risale-i Nur, indicates the truths which the risale-i Nur, being distilled from the Quran, has taken from the flashes of Quranic verses, and particularly the proofs and evidences for knowledge, will, and power. For the risale-i Nur expounds the scholarly proofs which the Arabic words indicate. This means that rather than being elucidations, explanations, and translations of those Arabic words, each of these scholarly proofs explains an indication and fine point made by numerous Quranic verses. I think this is an important point, rather than just going with the translation, how it impacts us, basically, what they indicate. Fine points made by numerous Quranic verses. All right, so we'll keep that in mind. To return to our main question, yes, with our own eyes, we see that there is an all-knowing and compassionate one who knows us and all beings with spirits, and knowing them protects them and knows all their needs and plaints. And knowing them comes to their assistance with his favors. One out of numberless examples, the general and particular favors bestowed on man, bestowed on man as sustenance, medicines, and the minerals he needs points most clearly to an all-encompassing knowledge. One out of numberless examples, the general and particular favors. One is general and then particular special favors bestowed on man as sustenance, medicines, and the minerals he needs point most clearly to an all-encompassing knowledge, offering testimonies to a most merciful and compassionate one to the number of foods, medicines, and minerals. Yes, wise and purposive works like the feeding of man, and particularly of the helpless and infants, and especially their conveying from the kitchen of the stomach the nutrients necessary for all their members and even their cells, and the mountains being pharmacies and stores of all the minerals necessary for man, could only occur through an all-encompassing knowledge. Adam, would you like to say something? Go ahead, Adam. Maybe by mistake you unmuted yourself. So, conscious choice, all-encompassing knowledge, deliberately, intentionally done, aimless chance, blind force, deaf nature, and lifeless, unconscious causes, and the simple, overwhelming elements could in no way interfere in this feeding, administering, preservation, and planning, which is knowing, recipient wise, compassionate, and gracious. So, which is knowing, recipient wise, compassionate, and gracious. Whatever is being, all the favors that we are receiving points to recipient wise, compassionate, and gracious qualities. Apparent causes, such as those are merely employed and utilized within the bounds of the knowledge and wisdom of one possessing absolute knowledge. And at his command and with his permission, as a veil to the dignity of divine power. So whoever is bringing things into existence, knows them, is aware, knows their needs, perceives their needs, wise, compassionate, and gracious. I mean, however I'm receiving, whatever I'm getting is not happening randomly. It's not by chance. There is a conscious, deliberate choice, will, which matches whatever my needs are. Yes, Suhail, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. It's interesting that he contrasts um, aimless versus conscious, because that's sort of what's prevalent today is that things are chance, things are random, and yet you have the completely opposite thing taking place from human perception, that things are chosen, are purposeful. Just thinking about being provided sustenance. So as he mentions, is something that we all take for granted and like do on a daily basis. If you think about it, how can it be aimless or purposeless? That's what chance essentially is when I benefit from it. Or in other words, there is a purpose behind it or a reason behind it. Eating is for sustenance in that sense. So how can that be aimless if that in of itself has a purpose? And so there's like the completely opposite contrast between the two, and they can't be reconciled. You can't rationalize how something is purposeful or chosen or determined in that way, and yet you have lifeless, deaf nature, unconscious particles that determine that. That's impossible. So either they are doing it themselves, or either they do have some sort of will behind them, and therefore they must know something, have the power to do that, which obviously is not justified. You can't demonstrate that. It's completely absent from particles. Otherwise, a scientist would be able to find some sort of consciousness physically within the lab. It's not possible, and hence why modern physics has been trying to find the reason for consciousness in the material world, and they can't find it because it's not fundamentally material. It's immaterial. So that also is a contradiction. It's but when I guess that this argument's presented or this reasoning is presented, it's a little bit, I think, difficult for people to accept today because of how overwhelming the sort of blind faith in science is. I don't mean science, but scientism, this philosophy that the universe is what it is and the material world is what it is. Even they don't accept that because they're looking for something immaterial, which is consciousness. But nonetheless, it's so difficult, even though it's so obvious and plain and simple to accept. It's difficult because that's not really how things are presented. One, and then two, on the opposite side, it appears irrational. Belief appears irrational primarily because people who present it in an irrational way. So to blindly accept. So on one side, scientists who advocate scientism say blindly accept that things are random, but on the other side, people who say I believe also ask you to sort of, in a way, blindly accept that there must be a cause behind these things, or a will, conscious will.
Thank you, Suhail, for sharing those thoughts. Anyone else would like to share anything? Brother Ali, go ahead.
In addition to what Suhail said, they cannot explain human feelings, how they happen to exist. They cannot explain human consciousness. They cannot explain the human mind is able to ask questions. and wait for the answer. Without answer, human mind and human feelings are completely disturbed. They cannot explain this. But they think they explained how reasoning is taking place. Brain is the source of reasoning, because lots of activities are going on here and so complicated, an ability to learn how, why should the brain matter will learn. Of course, they are confusing to me the means. For example, the tongue. Tongue is a means of taste. So tongue is given the ability to make the distinction between different tastes, and people say, I like this, I don't like this, I really enjoy this, or nah, it's all right, this kind of things. They adjust themselves accordingly, how the tongue perceives. So I understand that from this kind of explanations, they are saying tongue is the source of the quality of tastes, all tastes, because it must be the inventor of the tastes. How about the things outside, and how do they correspond? One of them is a plant out there, nothing to do with human mind, human tongue, human development. Plant is there, completely different, but it has nothing to do with it. And as the Quran says, which is extremely important to me, we created everything is in pair. Now, the plant is created there with a certain taste in it, certain smell in it, so certain beauty in it, in its existence. That's out there. It's nothing to do with me. But in pair, I have the qualities to make the distinction between colors, to decide whether I like this color or not. The design on it is enjoyable, and I really like the design. It is perfect. I give this example, extreme example, which is everybody, almost nobody, no one wants to encounter with their snake. But although we don't like it, but if boots or shoes and anything made up of snake skin, it is thousands of dollars. Why? I don't like snakes, but I pay enormous amount of money for the decoration of the snake skin. How this communication, pair communication, is happening? The tastes are there, tongue is here. Smell is there, different thousands of different kinds of smells. Nose is here. Thousands of different colors, millions of different kinds of decorations on the existence, and the sense of loving, enjoying, or not enjoying, the sense is within me. We have nothing to do with each other. It developed there according to their understanding accidentally. I developed here according to their understanding accidentally again. And there is a completely corresponding and complementing relationship between the pairs. The simple example where men and women, completely corresponding relationship between men and women. That is how, without men, no women can give birth, no man can have a child without a woman. Pairs. This is the simplest example. From the old days, it is understood in this way. But nowadays, we should understand it as much as we can, expand our imaginations using the available data in the available for us in this civilization. We say, hey, everything is in pair and they have nothing to do with each other. How can you explain it away that they accidentally developed, adapting by selves? Yeah, my body, let's say, okay, adapted itself, although it is impossible, but let's say, okay, how about my correspondence, feelings, my smell, taste, eye, or all this kind of relationship? And also, I have a tongue, and atmosphere is there. I have an eye, light is there. This pair, the understanding of pair is very fundamental in the teachings of the Quran. Zawjain, zawjain, zawjain. Sometimes the Quran says, ithnain is zawjain, is zawjain is nain. It means two sides are corresponding with each other at the same time. It means two multiplied by two. Relationship is perfectly, harmoniously, complementarily working. How can you explain this? Accidentally it happened to be. Let's say one. How about millions of different kinds of species created on Earth? That's what they say, more than 1 million. A species has existed in this world, studying the fossils, and they all have this perfect correspondence. How do they do it? The cat is not interested in something, but it is very much in love with mice, corresponding. Why only mice? Why? Why not like dog, loyal to its owner? Correspondence. Everybody has given certain conscious duty on earth, and everything is put in correspondence with each other perfectly. Definitely an absolute knowledge, absolute will, as the text keeps saying that wisdom, the absolute wisdom necessarily must be acting behind all this. But that is the only way that the reason can be satisfied. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. Thank you for sharing. You're right about the absolute will, absolute knowledge, divine power. Alhamdulillah. I hope you realize all that. All right, I think we can stop here for today. Unless there's any other final comment. Inshallah, we'll continue next Sunday with this 5th and 6th evidences. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surat al-Fatiha.